All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. Thanks as always for being here. We're here with a regular Thursday episode. We got some juicy topics to get into, a little bit of back and forth, giving our thoughts on a few different things. We do have a sponsor for this episode, but before the sponsor, tell everybody about this free program that you put out that they can download and take with them this summer.
Yeah, if you just go to our website, it should pop up. If it doesn't, you can go to the free giveaway section.
So I think it says free content at the top of the page.
Yeah. And it is 12 killer workouts that you can take with you wherever you go that require zero equipment. You don't even need a band. You don't need anything but yourself. Takes away all the excuses.
Yeah. You and your body.
Yep.
And the ability to count.
Yeah, so this is just, whenever you guys, if you're traveling and you're like, oh, I want to get something done and get something in, you can download this and you have 12 killer workouts in your arsenal. And these have like a warm up, a little, you know how I do, a get warm, a get ready, a get going, and then like some finishers, and it's good.
Yeah, so I'll put a link to download that in the show notes to this episode too. Yep. But yeah, that's a great resource. Clients, if you're out there and you're headed somewhere, feel free to grab that too. Mm-hmm. We're going to go through this episode quick because summer is upon us here in the Texas Hill Country.
It's 100 degrees outside.
100 degrees outside.
Our neighbor has like a little weather station on the fence between our house and his, and he said it says on the weather station the feel like is 122.4.
I think it's just
which is crazy.
Just a picture of fire at that point. And the reason we have to go quick, there's a window unit here in our office, and it's super loud. It ain't running right now. So it's like
we're in a metal building, baking in the sun.
Yes.
Hottest time of the day. It was a good choice.
Watch for some upper lip sweat if you're watching this on the YouTube version.
We did snag this little ditty. It's not
our podcast sponsor, but it's a great product.
It's
called a fan. That's called a fan, babe.
It's wire, like you don't have to have it plugged in.
It's cordless, it's got a battery.
You can charge it, and I'll demonstrate. It's very quiet.
Very quiet.
And I actually connected it to the treadmill today and pointed it at me. It was fantastic. So this is really cool.
Yeah.
So Jonathan likes to have it on his desk.
It helps out a lot.
Yeah, it does.
So yeah, not sponsored, but go grab one.
Not sponsored.
Okay, let's get to our sponsor for the podcast though. Today it's a big company. Okay. We're new to the company, but they're also new to us. So it's a mutual newness. Mm-hmm. It's iRobot Roomba robot vacuums. Embarrassed to admit that we just spent the better part of an hour trying to get our new robot vacuum set up.
That's because of our internet, but
a little bit of user error, a little bit of internet.
There was no user error. That was just internet slowness. It was like one of those things where it's like, verify your email address. We sent you a code, and like because of our internet speed, the code would expire before I actually could open the email. I mean, that was the issue, and it was just like, your code has expired, and I was just like,
I know we're like 10, 15 years late to the robot vacuum party, but we had a Southwest credit card for probably like the last over 10 years that we've used just to buy everything on. And we're not flying anywhere. So
we have a ton of points. And so we decided, like, let's look and see if there's just like some things we can get instead of like,
just waiting to fly.
Because we have
somewhere.
a camper now. We would prefer to just go out in it. And so we were like, we have all these points. So we got a grill for the camper and a robot vacuum to start it off. We'll see. I actually never wanted one of these. I was like, this means you're like domesticated, or I don't know. But it's like our house gets so dog hairy like daily.
That's brutal.
So I'm thinking, like, when we come to work, we set that guy off and see what happens.
Yeah.
Jonathan has a horrible story when he was at a friend's house and he was the first one home, and the robot vacuum ran over some dog mess. Sorry. And he had to clean it out of the robot vacuum.
Yeah.
So luckily our dogs don't go to the bathroom in the house.
That was a nightmare. His dogs weren't supposed to be going to the bathroom in the house either.
There must have been an emergency.
I should have just been like, oh yeah, I came home late today, or I was there late. Like, sorry you had to run into that. Okay, let's get right into, we got some topics today. Yeah. These are based on conversations we've been having with clients. I wanted
to start a new feature.
Okay, what's
on
the feature?
Podcast? Like, you have the sponsor.
Okay.
The workout of the week.
Okay.
The workout of the week.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So I thought I'd start to give away a workout of the week that people could do.
You're going to do it verbally right here?
I'm just going to do the workout right now.
All right. Well, let me start my watch.
Let me get my barbell real quick. So I just did this one because I usually am like a week ahead of what I program, so I can test it. And so I kind of made something up on the fly, and I really liked it. So I think it's something you guys could try. 9 rounds. Sounds like a lot, but hang on there. 9 rounds, 5 burpees, 7 hang power cleans, 9 box jumps. It took me 11 and a half minutes. So it's not very long. And so it's one of those mental challenges where you just have to like wrap your brain around doing 9 rounds. You know, the 5 burpees and the 7 hang power cleans take you very little time, but it really ramps up your heart rate. And then you just kind of recover on those box jump overs. And I found it like to be a really good workout. I thought it was tough because of the way your heart rate gets spiked during the burpees and the hang power cleans, and you're just trying to hang on and recover, and then just get right back into that next round. I enjoyed it a lot. So
what kind of weight would you suggest if somebody's using dumbbells or a barbell?
I think so for the women, like let's go like men like 115 or less on the barbell, women 75 or less on the barbell, and then for dumbbells, let's go men like 35 or less, women 25 or less. Because we're going from the hang, so we're going to deadlift that weight up, and then each rep we're just going to go from like right above the knees, catch it in the front rack position. So you want it to be something you can cycle 7 reps every time under fatigue.
What about strategy wise? How should they attack this? Just go out like guns blazing?
Don't go out guns blazing, but you want to like try to keep a steady pace. Like I said, so it's 5 burpees quick, always just get them done. 7 hang power cleans. Try to use like bringing the bar down or the weight down and like recoiling right into that next rep to get yourself away from that weight as quick as you can. And then box jump overs rather than just ups, but getting over that box and just using that time kind of methodically jumping over the box at a slower pace.
This is land on top of the box and step off the other side.
Yeah, and you don't have to stand all the way up on these. You can just like stay in like a crouched position and get over the box as quick as you can.
Sounds good.
Yep. So I'd say that domain somewhere between like that 10 to 11 minute mark, which is like moving, that's around a minute. It is getting hot in here, or maybe I'm just excited about this workout.
Yeah,
all the way up to like maybe 17 minutes.
Okay.
So
I like it.
11 to 17 minutes.
Okay, one more
3,
piece
2,
of
1.
housekeeping before we get into
Sure.
the topic. We're going extra long on the jibber jabber portion of this episode. Tell everybody the strategy we came up with for Instagram that we're implementing for the last week or so that's continuing on. Because we've talked about this recently, how we like have kind of come to hate Instagram. And
and a lot of people are like, it's digital barbell Instagram, so they're like, who is it? Who am I talking to? Or who's even posting? Who's doing this? So we decided to split it, formally split the work. And so Jonathan is in control Monday, Wednesday, Friday. He does the post and he does the story, and I cannot contribute. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, it's me. I'm doing the post, I'm doing the story, and he cannot contribute, which I think is the harder part for both of us, because he's like always finding things to put in the story, and I'm like, oh gosh, I got to put something in the story. So yeah.
And Sunday
is like up for grabs.
So there you go. If you've ever wondered,
Sunday's buttons.
And you're listening to this in June of 2023, that is currently the strategy that we're working with.
We'll keep going with it. Yeah.
No, I like it.
I think it's a good strategy. And
yeah.
I would say though, if you're chatting with someone on a digital barbell, like if you're chatting with us through Instagram,
if you slide into the DMs,
that's always him.
Yeah.
I don't check those.
I try to like put my initial or sign my name to stuff because I think it can be confusing. But I like to talk to some other couples that run businesses and see how they handle this same thing.
Yeah, because we wouldn't ever want to split it and be like Blakely at Digital Barbell John. I mean, it'd be like too like competitive. Like I have more followers than you.
I don't even think it would be close, and I'll let the listeners decide who would have more.
What
okay,
are you trying to say?
Let's get into the first question/topic that I want to talk about here.
Turn this fan on.
You can go for the fan. People will understand. You're sweating. Okay, there's this still confusion out there about fat burning. And I think it's being propagated now by the fact that high fat, low carb diets are super popular, and people are obsessing about their insulin response to eating food with these continuous glucose monitors that they're wearing. So people on the diet side of things are thinking like, all right, I need to burn fat. I need to eat more fat because that will make me burn more fat. That's number one. Number two is the argument of if I can just keep my blood glucose low enough, meaning I don't have glucose circulating in my body to use for energy because of insulin, if I can just keep my blood sugar low enough, my body will preferentially burn fat for energy. So the main confusion in this is because there needs to be a mental separation between body fat and dietary fat. Body fat, for those of y'all watching on YouTube, is this stuff. If you can grab it, it's body fat. If it jiggles, it's body fat. Everybody has it. It's completely normal to have. Everybody has body fat unless you're standing naked on a bodybuilder stage. They don't have any body fat. Okay.
Right. Yeah, they have at least like 5% or something.
Barely.
Barely.
They're like almost dead up there.
Someone wheeled them out and then they stood there.
They flex and then they die. Okay, so that is body fat. Dietary fat is the macronutrient fat that is in food that you eat. Okay, so when you think about I need to eat more fat to burn fat, yes, if you eat a diet rich with dietary fat, your body is going to preferentially burn more fat because that is the energy that you're putting in. But it's burning the energy that you're putting in, not the stored fat that you have as a result of eating too many calories for the last year. So there's a difference there. Think about if you had a car that could run on two different kinds of fuel, gas and Bucky's Beaver Nuggets. It could run on both of those. And you're like, I want my car to burn more gas, so I'm going to put more gas in it. Yes, if that is the fuel you're putting in, it's going to preferentially burn the fuel that you put in. But draw the line between body fat and dietary fat. Your body, no matter how much dietary fat you eat, your body will not burn your body fat for energy unless all the calories that you eat over the course of the day, the week, the month, add up to less calories than your body is burning. That is how you burn body fat.
Energy balance.
Energy balance. And the same is almost true. I don't want to get too deep into this, but with the whole thing of I want to keep my insulin low so that I'm burning body fat. You know, your body has different energy systems that it can use for different activities that tap into different fuel sources. Glucose, body fat, those are the two big boys. And it can skew how much of each it's burning based on the demand of the activity that you're doing. So that's, you don't need to obsess about like the exact insulin response to your food at any given time, because if you're trying to burn body fat, it still comes down to how much energy did you eat and how much energy did you put out, regardless of what it did to your blood sugar. Okay, so those are the two main things. The only other one I want to bring up in this confusing topic is how people are trying to micromanage their heart rate to stay in the fat burning zone to be able to burn fat for energy. This goes back to the same confusion, confusing body fat with dietary fat. Yes, your body does preferentially burn fat in long endurance-based exercise where your heart rate stays in a certain range. But unless you're specifically trying to change that, train that energy system to build more capacity in that area, it doesn't have any impact on your body composition, your weight gain, your weight loss, unless we're talking about controlling total calories across the days, the weeks, and the months.
Okay.
So I just wanted to kind of touch on that again because it's still super confusing. If you still are confused about it, or if I just confused you more with that explanation, send me an email, jonathan@digitalbarbell.com, and I'll even get on the phone with you and talk about it if you want.
Nice.
So I want to clear it up.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Now I'm sweating.
Now you're sweating. You need the fan. The Zuvas.
I'm wearing a black shirt too. Black is hotter. Common, little known fact. Okay. Move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Okay. This is another super common thing that we talk about, and the root thing here is motivation. How do we stay motivated to train and eat healthy when we don't have a specific event that we're training for, or we're not trying to just like go set PRs in the gym?
Yeah.
What makes us want to do the things when there's no instant reward or goal that we're chasing?
We recently listened to a podcast with Ben Bergeron. I can't remember which one he was on, but he said something and it has just stuck with me ever since. And I think it just painted like this perfect picture of why we train, why we do this every day, why we care. It was kind of like a fable, or is that what you call it?
I don't know.
Not a fable, but like a little like, yeah, you'll get it.
Story.
It's like a little story that you can kind of get the reference to.
Put you in the place.
Right. So the story was, say you're on a hike with your dog. I'm changing it a little bit. Say you're on a hike with your dog and a tree falls on your dog. Do you have, number one, the mental capacity to handle the situation and to not freak out and to be able to make decisions? And number two, if you're unable to lift the tree, do you have the endurance to run 3 miles as quick as you can back to your car where you can get a cell phone signal or find help?
Would number two be, do you have the physical strength to lift the tree off the dog?
They're just three points.
Okay.
And then number three is, if you did have the physical strength to lift the tree off the dog, could you then throw the dog on your back and hike 3 miles out with a pack on to get that dog to safety? So I think that is just a great representation of why we do these things and why we train the way that we do.
Yeah.
We want to be like, I mean, I think we've probably said it on 90% of the podcast that I think that doing hard things almost daily makes you a stronger person fit mentally. There it is right there. You know, that's why I like workouts with burpees. That's why I like, you know, I've get out there and run in the heat, things like that, because it makes me mentally stronger when I do these things. I do hard things because I feel like I become a better human being because of it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I do it because I want the physical strength. I want to be able to like do that. If I needed to help somebody, I want to feel confident in my abilities, you know. And if I, you know, needed to run for help, jump over a fence, like do things, and, you know, like I wasn't planning on, I want to be able to do those things if a need for it to come up.
Yeah. And like, nobody really starts a workout program with those things in mind.
Yeah. Like, what if I'm hiking and a tree falls on my dog? Like, but.
So like tying that into the question of motivation, like maybe all those things in the example aren't the thing that like get you started. Maybe your doctor says, hey, you're pre-diabetic. It's time to make a change. Or like you're faced with, you're going to have to buy a whole new wardrobe if you don't change something. Or your spouse, you realize they don't find you attractive anymore. Something like that. Sometimes those are the things that get you motivated to start.
Right.
I've had a moment like that personally. Like I remember it was like 2012, I think it was. And like, I'd already been doing CrossFit and got in decent shape, but then I got completely out of the routine and I got overweight again. And like, I sat down in my truck, put my seatbelt on, and I was like, this seatbelt is like slicing through my fat and it is super uncomfortable. And I looked down and I was like, I have to do something. So that was like a moment for me. And those moments are great to get you started.
Right.
But at some point you have to like look past the aesthetic goals that you have, the fear of not feeling good about yourself, and got to find something else to keep you motivated. And all those things that you just said are very long-term goals, because, you know, it becomes harder to build as you get older, but it becomes even more important to have a base to pull from as you get older. So like looking at maintaining the ability to do all those things serves as a much bigger source of motivation than like, I can't wait to go out and PR my deadlift today. Yeah. Staying independent and knowing that like you're capable of doing hard things.
Yeah. Cause you kind of get into this zone of like, you know, you had the peak where you were super motivated to start, and then it's going to level off. And the excitement of like, oh, I just lifted more weight today than I ever have, that will level off. Like oh, I just beat my last time, or whatever it is. Like I, you know, did, you know, curls for longer, you know, more curls than I've ever been able to do, whatever it is, that stuff will level off. And so you have to find like a bigger reason and a bigger why that you're doing it. And I really truly get inspired by some of our older clients who are, most of them have started this later in life. And it is just the commitment and the desire and the consistency that they have to try these hard things every day is so motivating for me to see. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't do this, if you don't shift over from, you know, relying on the initial motivation to help you continue to be consistent, what's going to happen is you're going to do what Blakely just said, or you're going to be climbing up, you're feeling great, you're motivated, things are going to start to level off. Or we could even look at this in the inverse, like maybe things start to go down a little bit because your consistency has dropped off. Some of that motivation has gone. So therefore some of your results start to drop off. And I call this getting down in the dip. Stole it from Seth Godin, but use it in a different context. But like you get to that dip and you start wondering like, all right, I'm not as motivated anymore. Can I stop doing some of the things that got me to the place that I am right now? And you experiment with it. And slowly some of your results start to go away a little bit more. And then you feel even less motivated and you feel disheartened. And you're faced with a decision like, am I just going to give up on this and start it all over again? And that's the thing you got to avoid. So when you get to that place where the initial motivation is gone, you got to come back to this example, like Blakely said, and have a wider vision of the reason why this is important to you.
Yeah.
Because as we've talked about before, and we talked about on the podcast that with Brianna last week, is that like you're going to get better at whatever you do. You're practicing every day,
right?
Like whether you realize it or not. So you can either get better at doing hard things when you don't want to, or you can get better at quitting when it gets hard. And whichever one you choose, it's going to get easier over time.
Yep.
One's going to lead you in one direction. One's going to lead you in a different direction.
It's very true.
What else? Anything else on that topic?
I think that's it.
Let's go hiking. Okay, let's move on to the last thing.
All right.
Oh, yeah. So I've been reading this book by Adam Bornstein called You Can't Screw This Up. It's kind of like the anti-diet book. I'm only halfway through the book, and basically the whole first half of the book so far has been just like discrediting the entire diet industry, which he's 100% right about everything that he said, and talking about why diets fail. And it's definitely nothing that I haven't heard before, but a really good reminder of what usually blocks people's progress. This could tie into the conversation I just had about the dip too, but I want to point out that the thing that messes up your fitness, whether it's your consistency with your workouts, your commitment and consistency with eating healthy, isn't the fact of when you make a poor decision. It's not when you tell your coach, I'm going to be there and work out, and you don't show up. That's not the thing that stops your progress. It's not when you tell your coach, I'm going to eat 3 square meals today, I'm going to prioritize protein, and I'm not going to have alcohol. And then you do none of those things. That's not the thing that stops you from getting progress or from making progress. The thing that stops you from making progress long term is the guilt and the shame that's associated with that internal conflict you feel when you don't do what you say you were going to do, or you do what you say you weren't going to do. But that is not a necessary component in your journey. That guilt and shame has to be something that you learn to deal with and put aside to be able to make actual progress. Because it's going to turn into this loop where you feel that guilt and shame, and that guilt and shame leads you to make another poor decision, which leads to more guilt and shame. So one bad decision quickly snowballs into a week. And not all before you know it, you've had a 0% week where you gave 2 flying flips about anything that had to do with your goals. So the key in making long-term progress is to forget the idea of being perfect. We're not perfect. You're not perfect. None of our clients are perfect. Never met a perfect person. There's only one perfect person in this world. And if you don't know who he is, then send us a message. But my point is, drop the perfectionist mindset. Don't fall into guilt or shame when you fail to be perfect, and simply make the next right freaking decision. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. That is the key. That is the key, is having a short memory, desensitizing yourself to your quote failures, and getting on with your life. Not letting one decision turn into 10. If you had self-corrected after that first bad decision and made 10 more good decisions, look at your percentage versus the guilt and shame cycle where 1 leads to 2, leads to 3, leads to 4, leads to an entire month.
Yeah.
And by that time, like, you feel like you've gone so far. What's the point of even trying? Look how far you've gone. You've proven to yourself you can't be perfect. Start with dropping the expectation of perfection, have a short memory, desensitize yourself to failure.
And I would say like a trick, like if this is something that you do struggle with, and one of the things is to like have a way to get yourself out of whatever it is you're doing, to like not use the term but. Like, I'm going to do like if you're telling somebody something like, I'm going to do my workout tonight, but I might be running a little late at work. Like, I want to get my workout in tonight, but I'm probably running a little bit late at work. That's just giving you an out, like that you can kind of like, you're telling somebody else that like, I'm probably not, I want to do this, but I'm probably not. So you're like giving yourself an out. Like, I want to eat the food at home tonight, but I just happened to be running by a Chick-fil-A and grabbed it or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just like using the term but to allow yourself an escape door. Yes, exactly.
Right.
And I think that that's just like something that like it kind of makes you feel better in the moment, that you can like, well, if I don't end up following through, I've already told somebody else the but.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a good practice is, if this is something that you do struggle with, to try to like just own up to either the reason or the reason you can't. It's fine if you can't, but just own up to the reason that you can't, instead of like leaving it out there.
It makes it real.
Yeah.
Like, this was my choice.
Right.
Then you just made me think of two other things. Is another word that goes with that is the word try. I'm going to try to get my workout in tonight. I'm going to try to eat healthy this weekend.
I'm going to try to make a big batch of chicken, so I'll have some to eat on for the next few days.
Keep everything the same. Just lose the word try, and then actually do the thing that you said you're going to do.
Yeah.
Isn't that like a Star Wars thing that like Yoda says, like, there is no try, there is no try,
there's just do. Yeah. I don't know if it's Star Wars, but I think that is a saying.
I think that was Yoda who said that. Oh man, what was the other thing I was going to say? It was gold.
It was like try.
Okay. Oh. Here's another thing too. This is a tangent from the thing about that we were just talking about. Yeah. But eliminate saying, or change this wording when you say something. It's really like a way to bring awareness to excuse making. Mm-hmm. So say I didn't work ran late. I was tired, so I didn't work out. And then that's where you would normally leave the sentence. Now add this to the end. So I'm okay with not getting results. Put that phrase at the end of every time you leave an excuse or you give a reason. Reasons are just another word for excuse. Mm-hmm. I didn't eat healthy this weekend because my grandma made her famous tamales and I ate way too many of them. So I'm okay with not getting results.
I'm okay with seeing it on the scale this next week.
Right. It ties it in mentally for you that your actions do have consequences.
Yeah.
And you don't have to beat yourself up for the consequences. It's not like
you've chosen that and like own the choice and like own the result. Yeah.
And it keeps you from being a victim of the situation too. I chose to overeat, so I'm not going to get results. Mm-hmm. That was my choice. I'm not a victim. Yeah. I decided to do it. So I haven't whipped that out on any clients yet. It's a little bit harsh, but I think it's a good tool just to kind of use on yourself. If you feel like you're sliding into excuse making, how do you know if you're sliding into excuse making? You're being inconsistent and you're not getting results. Mm-hmm. That's basically the sign. Yeah. Okay, those were the three topics that we wanted to talk about today.
Let's end this on a fun note.
Let's do it. This was a Debbie Downer, man. No, I think this is useful stuff. Yeah, I think we've got some clips in there we're going to pull out and Clips Nation it.
All right. I have a question for you.
Okay.
Would you rather live in a house in a setting that you love that's just incredible, but every day is the same, or would you rather live in a camper where you could be anywhere, your camper stays the same, but your environment changes daily, weekly, whatever you want?
This sounds like the situation we're in right now.
No, we're not.
Are we asking like for listeners to give us their opinion on what we should do?
No, I'm just asking you.
I mean, I don't really know because I've never lived the second option.
Yeah.
This trip that we're about to go on is going to be like the longest camping trip we've ever done. So maybe it'll be kind of a sign of
without a break
several
from
different
the trailer.
places too. You know, we're going to see different scenery. I don't know, man. It's like that whole thing of like trading the things that you like. Really, it's like trading the unknowns of what you might not like about something else for the things that you know are good about what you have.
Yeah.
That's a tough place to be. Like there's a lot I love about where we live right now. I can hardly think of anything that I don't.
I'm not talking about anything specific. What are you talking about? It's a hypothetical.
Hypothetical situation.
If you live in a hypothetical, really nice, place right now, would you rather stay or would you rather go?
Well, hypothetically, why don't you check back with me in a month and I'll answer this question.
Sounds good.
Do you want to answer that one too?
No, I don't.
Oh.
That was your question.
Man, all right. Let me ask you a question then.
Okay.
I'm really interested. I don't know what the answer to this is going to be.
I don't know what the question is.
If you had to pick an entirely different form of exercise other than what we do now, what would it be? Like nothing that we do now could be part of the future. And this is going to be what you have to do for the rest of your life.
What? Like for the rest of your life?
Yeah, this is a big commitment here. Buck up. Like think of what you do now and forget all of it.
Like I can't be like, I want to be an Olympic lifter.
No barbell, no push-ups, no pull-ups, no running, no nothing CrossFit, no bodybuilding, none of that. Could be a sport, any form of
Just
exercise.
whatever I do for exercise.
What would you want to do?
Can we put one of those like clocks that like tick while I think about this? Because it might be a while. For the rest of your life, you have to do this one thing.
Yeah.
I think you should take
that.
I think you should take that out. Like you should take out. It doesn't have to be for the rest of your life.
These are my rules. You're planning to train like the way we do now for the rest of your life, as of now. So, okay, fine. Just
for a year.
Permanently. Let's just say permanently.
For a year.
For a year.
I like. That's tough. Honestly, I think that speaks to like how much I feel like I like what we do and how much value I feel like it brings to my life, because I'm having trouble even thinking of something that I would be willing to do, even if it was just for a year, take a hiatus from all of this. It's not going to be pickleball. I've never played that, but it's not going to be pickleball. It's not going to be like
skydiving,
Taibo, like it's not going to be step classes. I'm honestly at a loss.
I'm not letting you off the hook for this one.
I really enjoy walking. Yeah. Can I walk? Like, can I?
I would say.
Can I walk?
Walking is not part of your training right now.
Okay, so I would do some
power walking. It's in the Olympics. Speed walking.
There was a power walking team at my school, and I'm a really fast walker. Jonathan has a joke, like if we don't ever go to
That's not a joke, it's reality.
We don't go to malls anymore, but when we used to go to malls
don't lie,
together,
we hang out at the mall every Friday
he
night.
would like run beside me because I walk so fast. It's just like a natural gait. Like he would make fun of me, and I'd be like realizing I'm walking fast. So yes, okay, that's my answer. Power walking team.
You would be good at that.
It would say something like gymnastics, but I'm not good at that. So
but
gymnastics could give you a lot of I guess I do gymnastics-y stuff right now, like pull-ups.
I think you're making a mistake with that choice, and let me tell you why. There's no resistance in power walking. Your muscle mass would just disappear to nothing.
What if you could power walk at one of those trails where they have like the pull-up bars and the push-up station and the step station?
Quit looking for a loophole.
That would be what I would do. I'd power walk around those, and at every station you had to stop and do the exercises.
Nope. We'll stay with power walking. I reject that one. Nice try, though.
There's my choice. I'm going to utilize those stations.
Okay.
I'm going to get good at my pull-ups.
Okay. Sounds good.
All
right. You guys go download the 12
killer workouts you can take with you wherever you go that need no equipment.
If you don't want to go to the show notes, just go to digitalbarbell.com/travel workouts, and you can download it right there.
All one word, no spaces.
And we have a lot of new clients lately, but we still are accepting applications for new clients. If you want to work directly with myself, Blakely, or Haley on a training program built just for you that actually gets results, you can apply for coaching in the show notes, or you can work with myself or Haley on your nutrition. You can go through our 5-step nutrition freedom framework that takes you from awareness about what you're doing well right now, what you have room for improvement on, building the habits that support those goals, getting more dialed in with the specifics, like how much you should be eating and what specifically, make a ton of progress, and then fall back on those habits that you built in the first place so that you don't have to track for the rest of your life. Doesn't that sound like a good plan?
That was a good spiel
clip
there.
That, producer. She's got the fan back out. All right, guys.
We better go.
My face is red. I'm sweating. It's time for a shower. Hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll catch you next time. Have a good week.